The following Zoom session is being recorded and will appear later today on my YouTube channel, Math with Mayo. There are two different classes that may be observing this session. Therefore, when you participate in the Zoom meeting, if you do not wish for your picture or your name to be made public, please leave the video off and use an alias name. If you have questions during the meeting but do not wish to speak, email me at bmail@ybcc.edu and I'll respond as soon as I can. All right, so we're going to pick it up from outcome number 4. Or chapter 4, if you want to think of it that way. And we are going to pick it up with question number 22. Here, okay, there we go. All right, a city is considering building a commuter train. The steepest section of track has a fall of 80.22 feet and for a horizontal distance of 286.5 feet. What is the grade of this section of track? All right, so we've got this picture. This is the track. And it goes down 80.22 feet as it goes over 286.5 feet. So the fall, or the grade, would be 80.22 feet divided by 286.5 feet. And when we put that into the calculator, and with a slope, we'd have a positive or a negative, but with a grade or downgrade, we don't think of it as positive or negative because it says downgrade. That implies it's going down. All right, 80.22 divided by 286.5 comes out to be 0.28. which would be 28 over 100, which would be 7 over 25, reducing the numerator and the denominator by 4. So our fraction is going to be 7 over 25, okay? Convert the fraction to a percent, so we'd multiply by 100% over 1. 100 over 25 is 4 over 1, so we get, 28%. This round to the nearest 1/10 of a percent, but we don't need to because it comes out nicely anyway. All right, any questions on 22? Then we'll go on to number 23. The table below gives the annual sales in millions of a product. What was the average rate of change of annual sales between 2001 and 2002? Well, let's see. So our input is the year and the output is the sales. So in 2001, we've got this ordered pair. In 2002, we've got this ordered pair. So the average rate of change would be, we call this 0.1 and 0.2, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We're going to have 271 minus 262 over 2002 minus 2001, which is what, 9 over 1? So it would be $9 million per year. Okay. Then it says between 2001 and 2006. So now, new situation. There's 2001, and there's 2006. Okay, let's see here. Average rate of change from 2001. So it's going to be 247 minus 262 over 2006 minus 2001. Well, let's see. 247 minus 262 is going to be negative 15 over 5, which is negative 3. So our rate of change is going to be negative $3 million per year. So during the year between 2001 and 2002, they increased their sales. Let's see, or they had annual sales of 9 million. Between 2001 and 2006, things went bad. Okay, things went south. All right. Number 24. On a bicycle, Kiara rides, I think that's how you say that. Kiara rides for 5 hours and is 32 miles from her house. After riding for 11 hours, she is 68 miles away. What is Kiara's rate? All right, so it's miles per hour. So hours is going to be the X value and miles is going to be the Y value. And then you've got what, 11 comma 68. So here's your two ordered pairs, 68 minus 32 over 11 minus 5, which is what, 36 over 6 or 6. So Kiara's rate is 6 miles per hour. As I've mentioned in the past days, I'm just going to keep going. If you have any questions, please stop me. I'll be happy to go back, slow down, go over something again, explain in more detail, whatever you want. Okay. All right. Number 25, find the average rate of change of g of x equals negative 4x minus 2 between the 2 points, negative 1, 2, and 1, negative 6. Okay, so negative 1, 2, and 1, negative 6. I'll call this point 1 and this point 2. So the slope is negative 6 minus 2 over 1 minus negative 1. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. Let's see here. Okay. All right, I'll continue. A company discovers that a product to produce X equals 590 new electronic parts, it will cost Y $34,670. To produce 730 new electric parts, it will cost $42,090. Compute the slope of the cost and choose the most accurate statement from the following. All right, so we've got 590 parts at a cost of $34,670. And we've got 730 parts at a cost of $42,090. Careful, because I've got 2 commas in there, so I got to keep track of what each comma means. All right, so the slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Let's see if I got all my numbers copied correctly. So 42,090 minus 39,670 is 2420. And then in the denominator, 730 minus 590 is 140. That's a comma, not a decimal point. If I take 2420 divided by 140, I get, let's see, I get 17.2857. So hang on. I'm thinking, did I do something wrong? So give me a minute to see if I can figure this out.
It's your number. It's the 39,000.
You're supposed to let me figure it out. Fine. Which number?
Your Y value.
Oh, it's a 9. It's a 4 instead of a 9. I would have found it eventually. Come on. Oh, well. All right. Let's go back here. It has to do with my sloppy handwriting, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's going to change everything there. Let's see here. Fortunately, this was one of those ones where it was multiple choice. So I knew I was wrong because none of the answers fit with what I got. So this is a 4. This is a 4. Let's try that numerator again. Maybe I'll put my glasses on. Who knows if that'll help. 42,090 minus 34,670, 7,420, and then 730 minus 590 is 140, and then 7,420 divided by 140 is 53. Okay, now, is the slope positive or negative? It's positive. So first of all, it's got to be a 53, so it's got to be one of these two. This is the one that's increasing a positive slope. This one would be for a negative slope. Okay. All right. Anyway, thank you for finding my error. 27 goes, here we go, 27. This graph shows a proportional relationship between the number of genes Angel purchased and the cost of those genes. Estimate the rate from the graph. All right, now we've got to be careful always to look at the scale and to find points that are fairly easy to calculate. Well, this point is fairly easy, 0, 0, okay? However, none of these look really nice, do they? So let's see here. Yeah, this is not a very, right there, that looks to me like it's about halfway between 750 and 900. So that would be 15 comma, and then halfway between 750 and 900, let's see, the scale here is 150 between hash marks. So 75 would be halfway, so 750 plus 75 would be 825. Well, let's see what happens. So we're going to have 825 minus 0 over 15 minus 0, which is 825 over 15. 825 divided by 15, which is 55. So let's see here. So for numbers, I'm going to put in 55. Let's see what they've got. Ah, nice. Then select an answer. What would the let's see, the rate be? It would be what? Cost per number of genes, right? So dollar per pair of genes. And think about it this way. Your slope, you've got what? Dollars on top and number of genes on the bottom. So it's dollars per genes, okay? Any questions about that? All righty. Eric, you're late. You missed my first mistake. Oh, well, at least that I know of. All right.
Maybe there will be another.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Just people are,
You never know.
Yeah. All right. Find the constant rate of change for the graph. So we're going up 3 as we go over 1. Again, notice the scale. So the rate would be 3 over 1, or just 3, and it's miles per hour. Everybody clear on that? Because it's a change in Y over a change in X, so miles per hour. Okay. I guess we didn't do anything with 28. 29. Superman needs to save Lois from the clutches of Lex Luthor. It takes Superman 8 seconds to get to Lois, who is 352 feet away. What is Superman's rate? All right. So when you're traveling Are you going in feet per second or seconds per feet?
Feet per second.
Right. So we've got 352 feet per 8 seconds. So let's see here. 352 divided by 8 is 44, and this is going to be 44 feet per second. 44 feet per second. All righty, moving on. Number 30. Marcos purchases a top-up card for his prepaid cell phone. Top-up card. I've never heard of such a thing. Oh well. His remaining balance B can be modeled by the equation B equals 40 minus 0.1 N, where N is the number of minutes he's talked since purchasing the card. How much money was on the card when he purchased it? Okay, so let's think about this. When he purchased the card, how many minutes has he talked? 0, right? So if the number of minutes is 0, you'd get 40. So how much money was on the card when he purchased it? $40. Which intercept is this? All right, let's take this and let's write it in slope-intercept form. So here's your slope and here's your vertical intercept. So which intercept is this? Okay, so it would be the B-intercept, right? Like it's in the Y-intercept. Okay, where did we go here? B-intercept. We okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. How many minutes will he have talked when he runs out of money? So that means this right here has to be 0. Right? So he has no money. How many minutes? So what's in? Let's see. We could, let's add 0.1 N to both sides. So we get 0.1 N equals 40. Divide both sides by 0.1. And N is going to equal what? 400, I do believe. 40 divided by 0.1 is 400. So how many minutes? 400. Which intercept is this? Well, it's not the B-intercept, so it's got to be the N-intercept, right? What's the slope of this equation? Well,
-0.1.
negative 0.1.
Negative 0.1. Yeah.
Let's see here. So negative 0.1. Now they didn't say they wanted it as a fraction, so that should be okay. It is. What are the slopes? Units of the slope. All right. So you've got. Let's see here. This change in Y is what? That's the cost per minute. So the units of the slope would be dollars per minute. All right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 31. Write the equation of a line with a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 0, negative 1/3. Y equals mx plus b. M is 3, b is negative 1/3. So y equals 3x minus 1/3. So y equals 3x. Now, I don't know if I use the X on the keyboard, it still comes out, it should be the same. Okay, minus 1/3. Okay. All righty. Any questions there? All right, 32 coming up. Find an equation y equals mx plus b for the line whose graph is sketched. Okay, and this is another one of those where it's kind of hard to tell. So I'm going to zoom in on it and see what we get. Ah, right here. So we've got a horizontal line passing through 6. So that's going to be y equals 6. So the slope of a horizontal line is 0. And the y-intercept would be 6. But again, I had to zoom in to really be sure about that. Okay. 33 coming up. 33. Find an equation y equals mx plus b for the line whose graph is sketched. Okay. The slope, let's see, each one of our squares is 2 units. From here, it goes down 6 and over 8. You see that? From here, it goes down 6 and over 2, 4, 6, 8. So the slope is down 6 over 8, or -3/4. And the y-intercept looks to be at 0,3. So y equals -3/4 x plus 3. Oh, they don't even ask for that. All right, let's see. The slope m equals -3/4. So -3 divided by 4. The y-intercept b equals 3. Okay. Going on to problem 34. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given points. Okay. Now, actually, I've got a couple of options here. I could do it by looking at the graph and counting squares and things, or I could do it using the slope formula. Eric, which one would you like me to do? You want me to just look at the picture or use the slope formula?
Slope formula.
Okay, all right. So my 2 points are 0, -1, and 5, 1. Okay. So the slope, let's see, we'll call this point 1 and this point 2 is going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which is going to be 2/5. The y-intercept is -1. So y equals 2/5 x minus 1. That would be my equation. Now, let's put that in there. So let's see, 2/5, and then x minus 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back and do it the other way anyway. So the slope, each of these squares is 1 unit, so it goes up 2 as it goes over 5. So there's your slope, 2/5, and it cuts through the y-axis at a y-intercept of 0, -1. So either way, all right? But it's good to know how to do it using the formula, because you can't always rely on the picture. They may not give you a picture. All right. Number 35. This graph represents a linear function. Enter an equation in the form y equals mx plus b. So here, we still could identify 2 ordered pairs from the graph and do it the way we did the previous problem. But it looks to me like we can just count squares. But again, notice the scale. Each square is 1 unit. So my slope from here to here goes down 1, 2, 3, and over 2. So my slope is down 3 over 2. And my y-intercept is at 0, 2, so b equals 2 right there. So y equals -3/2 x plus 2. Now it doesn't have y here, so I have to include that. Previously, it had done that, so be careful. So y equals negative, let's see here, -3/2. Click it to move the x up, plus 2. Again, be careful. Don't fall into this mistake where you put the x there, okay? So you've got to move it either by using your arrow keys on your keyboard or the mouse to get it into the right situation, okay? Okay, 36. Is y equals 17x plus 14 increasing or decreasing? What's the slope?
17.
1/3. 1/3.
Wait, no. We're at 37.
Oh, I'm looking at 37.
I'm thinking, where are you getting 1/3? Okay, hey, we're even. We both been all right. We'll see who buys the root beer float. Okay, so somebody said, was it Whitney? Was it you or Rebecca? What's the slope?
17.
So it's increasing, right? Yeah. Okay. I feel much better now. Thank you for that. 37, graph the line. Okay, so where's the y-intercept? It's at 0,1, right? Okay, are we graphing a straight line, one of these things, one of those things? Just point, what are we graphing? What's this going to be? Straight line, right? Linear equation. So I'm going to click on this one. So I'm going to start at the y-intercept, and I'm going to go up 1 and over 3. And there we go. See how I did that? Started with the y-intercept and then applied the slope. Okay. Let's see. Enter the equation of the line in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, so our scale, each one of these squares is 4 units. Each one of these squares is 3 units. So it goes up 6 as it goes over 4. So the slope is 6/4 or 3/2. And the y-intercept is at the origin. So the y-intercept is 0. So it's going to be y equals 3/2 x plus 0. But we don't put the plus 0, so it's just going to be y equals 3/2 x. Y equals 3/2 x. All righty. Number 39. Come on. There we go. Graph the line that has an x-intercept of -2, 0 and a y-intercept of 0, 3. All right, now, how many points do I need to plot to establish a straight line? 2 points. I've got 2 points. So the long way would be to go through, use the slope formula, find the slope, go through, find the y-intercept and graph it that way. The short way is, hey, all I need is 2 points and I've got them. -2, 0, 0, 3. Bada boom, bada bing, done. Okay. I don't want you to work too hard. Okay, number 40. Find the equation of a line with a slope of 2 that passes through the point 6, 15. Okay. So what do we know? We know the slope is 2 and it passes through this point, 6, 15. We want our answer in the form y equals mx plus b. We know the slope, so we've got y equals 2x plus b. We do not know b, okay? But we do know that for a given x of 6, y is 15. So we can take the 6 and put it in for x, and the 15 and put it in for y. And that will allow us to determine what b is. So y equals 2x plus 3. Y equals 2x plus 3. Any questions about how I did that? Okay. We good to go on to 41 yet?
Yeah.
All righty. Find the equation in terms of x lying through the points -5, 1 and 4, -2. Now here they don't give us the slope or the y-intercept, but to find the slope, we could use the slope formula. So we've got y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which is -3 over 9, which is -1/3. So the slope is -1/3, okay? So for y equals mx plus b, I've got y equals -1/3 x plus b. Now, I need to find b. I don't have b. I don't have the y-intercept, because if I had the y-intercept, x would have to be 0 for a particular ordered pair. But I can take either one of these 2 points and plug x in for x and y in for y, but don't take an x from one point and a y from the other. You got to use the same point. So I'm going to put -5 in for x and 1 in for y. Okay. Let's see here. So 1 equals -1/3 times -5 plus b. 1 equals +5/3 plus b. Sorry, my writing's getting atrocious there. Negative times negative is positive. Okay, I'm going to subtract 5/3 from both sides. So I've got that. Well, 1 would be 3/3. So 3/3 minus 5/3 would be -2/3. Okay, so the slope is this, and the y-intercept is that. So y equals -1/3 x minus 2/3. Okay. Y equals -1/3.
Wrong problem.
What? Did I mess up?
Aren't you on number 41?
Thank you. That's 2 mistakes. I'm ahead of you, Eric. You got to catch up with me. All right. Let's see. -1/3 x, and then minus 2/3. All righty. Thank you. You've saved me again, Whitney.
All right, that's happened in a test to me before.
I know, isn't that a drag when you only get one shot? I had a student once that it's like almost every question was 1 off. It's like they had the answer to the previous question. Oh, yeah. Okay. 42. I don't think they did that for the whole test, but there were several of them like that. Find an equation of a line that goes through the points, blah, 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 right turns. Okay, so same thing as we just did, but now different points. So we've got 8, 53 and -6, -31. So the slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is -31 minus 53 over -6 minus 8, which is going to be -84 over -14, I do believe. And let's see, what's 84 divided by 14? Whoops, helps if you turn the calculator on. Negative divided by negative is going to be positive. So 84 divided by 14 is 6. Okay. So the slope is 6. So now for y equals mx plus b, 6 goes in the place of m. Okay. I'm going to take one of the ordered pairs. It doesn't matter which one. I'll use the first one. 8 goes in for x and 53 goes in for y. So 53 equals 6 times 8 plus b. 53 equals, 48 plus b. Subtract 48, 5 equals b. So y equals 6x plus 5. And that's problem 42. So make sure you put it in the right place this time. 6x plus 5. Okay. Moving right along. Let's see here. Number 43. The equation of the line with an x-intercept of 5 and a y-intercept of -2 can be written in the form y equals mx plus b, where the number m is and the number b is. Okay. So we've got to find the slope in the y-intercept. All right. We know the x-intercept is 5. But consider that. What would that look like as an ordered pair? It'd be 5, 0, right? As an ordered pair. The y-intercept is -2. So as an ordered pair, that would be 0, -2. So in fact, we do have 2 points. From those 2 points, we can find the slope. We'll call this point 1 and this point 2. So the slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Y sub 2 is -2. Y sub 1 is 0. X sub 2 is 0. X sub 1 is 5. We get -2 over -5, which is 2/5. So the slope is 2/5. Okay. The number b is what? Just -2. That was already given. Let's see here. Reduce fraction. Okay. It's always a good idea to read the directions before you put the answer in. You never know. All right. So if they asked us for the equation, it would be what? Y equals 2/5 x minus 2. But they didn't ask us for the whole thing. Okay. 44. In a small community, soccer is the fastest growing summer sport. The number of people involved in soccer in hundreds from the years 2002 to 2013 is given by the equation y equals 0.4x plus 9, where x is the number of years after 2002. All right, so let's see. So x is the number, so x equals 0 in the year 2002, okay? So like 2003, x would be 1, 2004, x would be 2, etc. And y is number of people, but that's in hundreds, okay? Use the equation above to complete the following ordered pair, 8, something. So y equals 0.4 times 8 plus 9, which is 3.2 plus 9, which is 12.2. And I'm assuming they want a decimal, 12.2. Write a sentence explaining the meaning of the answer of part A. Okay, so x is the number of years after 2002. So 8 years after 2002 would be 2010. So in the year 2010, there were 12.2, but that's hundreds people. So 12.2 times 100 would be what? 12 point, it'd be 12, well, let's see here. Let's do this. 12.2 times 100, you'd move the decimal point over 2 places, right? 2 places to the right. So that would be 1220. So 1220. Okay. If this equation continues to be valid, there will be blank people involved in soccer in 2015. All right. So if X is 0 in 2002, X would be 13. Everybody okay with how I did that? So now I need to find that. And that's going to be 14.2 times 100. So what? Let's see here. 1420. 1420. 1420. All right, any questions about what I did? This information over here is critical to the problem. Okay, so you've got to read the explanation of what everything stands for. All right, going on to 45. A phone company charges for service according to the formula C of N equals 13 plus 0.09 N, where N is the number of minutes talked and C of N is the monthly charge. Okay, so N equals number of minutes and C equals monthly charge. The slope in this equation is, well, I wish they'd write it in slope intercept form, but maybe they didn't on purpose. Okay, so the slope would be 0.09. I'm curious whether they, okay, because they didn't ask for it as a fraction. The slopes units are, all right, so it's going to be what? Dollars per minute, right? Is everybody okay with where I got that? Change in Y over change of X, and Y is the dollars and X is the minutes in terms of input and output. So it'd be dollars per minute. The vertical intercept in this equation is 13. What does that 13 mean? That's the starting value, isn't it? So basically, they charge $13 a month plus 9 cents a minute. Okay. Let's take a look at 46. Suppose you are at Albertsons, which is 7 miles from your house. At noon, you begin walking home at a pace of 1 mile, 1 miles per hour. Write an equation in slope intercept form to model the situation where D is the distance from your home and X is the times in hours. So I'm going to start with Y equals mx plus b. All right, D is the distance from your home. So what's B, the Y-intercept, so to speak, or the D-intercept? You're starting 7 miles from home. Okay. You're walking at a pace of 1 mile per hour, so that's your slope. So D is going to equal X plus 7. Let's see here. Hang on a second. At noon, you've been walking home. So you're starting at noon. equation is where d is the distance from x is the time in hours. So, oh, wait a minute. What's wrong with this? Anybody?
Noon.
What?
Is noon your starting point then?
Well, that's the starting time.
Or time?
But what does D stand for?
Distance.
Distance from home. Okay. So, okay, hang on, this is right. I was thinking maybe that should be negative, but no, it's not. Is the slope positive or negative?
Negative because you're going home.
Yeah, because let's look at the graph here. Okay, so this axis would be what? This would be x, which is the time. Okay, and this would be the distance. So you'd start 7 miles from home and you'd travel at a rate of 1 mile per hour until you reached home. So your slope is going to be negative. Good, good. All right. So that's going to be negative x plus 7. Now, if that's true, then here we can start at 7 and go down at a rate of, 1. Notice the squares. I was going to say the boxes. One square is 1 unit. So there we have we start. Before we click submit question, before I commit it, let's see. Okay. Does the graph represent that we're 7 miles from house at the beginning? Yeah. And we begin walking home. The distance from your house is going to decrease because you're walking towards the house. So as time goes on, the distance decreases. Okay. There you go. Good job, Whitney. Okay. 47. What are we doing here? Are we going to make, no, we're not going to make it all the way through. Oh, well, there's always tomorrow and the next day. Let's see, 47. You know what? Let's stop here because I don't know if we'll be able to get through it in time. So we're on for problem number 47. So that's where we'll pick up tomorrow. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, what's going to happen? So tomorrow during class will continue. Friday during class will continue. Monday during regular class meeting will continue. And if I get through everything, then whatever time's left will just be a free for all. Ask whatever questions you want, about things. You can ask what's on the test. I won't tell you, but you can still ask. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back this afternoon at 1:15. If you have any questions for me then, have a great rest of the day, and we will stop the recording.